Okay, and we are live. All right, so what's going on, Lauren? How have you been?
Hi, I've been good. Just busy doing a lot of writing and classes just started at universities. That's been fun.
All right.
Yourself?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Living life, breathing air, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to have a nice little chat with you. I'll ask you a couple of questions and get your perspective on a couple of things. Because I always wondered, what was going on in your mind, things you were thinking about. So I didn't have a nice little
I
chat.
just think about cute animals. That's just hedgehog pictures.
Just just cute little lion cubs and all that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. So one question I wanted to ask is, how did you deal with the amount of popularity you got in such a short amount of time? I mean, was that overwhelming for you when you first saw that these videos were really popular and everyone wanted to talk to you, or were you calm and leveled? How was that?
Oh man, yeah, it was overwhelming. I mean, I didn't expect my videos to get so popular. I just wanted to talk about my opinions on things. I got an opportunity with Rebel Media, and just pretty shocking. This whole summer has been crazy because my video on the Why I Don't Need Feminism was released on the last day of classes last semester. So just kind of over the summer, I've got 10,000 followers on Twitter. It's crazy, but there have been struggles where it's been really stressful, like after the Slut Walk, where I was getting a ton of hate mail, and I didn't really have that many people that followed me to hear my side of the story at that point. So I was kind of getting slandered, and it was a hard time for me, but a lot of people came to support me, and now I kind of feel a part of this amazing community online of people that honestly just want to pursue logic and reason in a society that isn't structured around offense and segregation based on arbitrary factors like the way we were born. So I'm at a point where I just love being a part of this community, and I'm looking forward to creating more content now.
All right, man. That's a good answer. I was always wondered that because I noticed the videos got popular like rapidly. It's really fast how that happened. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's because I knew who you were because I actually I saw your post the why I don't need feminism thing such a while ago because I was making all these different videos and I was like, oh, that's a good one. But
Oh,
I
really?
never,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I did see it. I just didn't know who you were exactly. And then your video
Mhm.
got popular and I was like, that lady. So that's nice. It's nice to hear that you're doing better now after all the ton of hate mail that you got, which I find to
Yeah,
be
and
rather
I
unfortunate.
wouldn't quite call it a cyber violence or go on a UN panel about it, but because I do have a power button on my computer. But of course, both sides get hate mail and shit posting, for a lack of a better word, and it is something that you can survive with the power button. It can be difficult to read it all, but I chose to read it, quite frankly. I chose to turn on my computer. I chose to go to my other inbox. So
Yeah, I understand that. I just recorded a video about that. I was actually bullied, in reality. So whenever people
mm.
leave me mean messages now, I actually like take the piss out of them. It's rather entertaining to me.
Yeah,
Especially when I get
exactly.
called a misogynist. That's the most hilarious thing to me in the world. I love talking to those types of people.
Yeah,
But
you get to a point where it's just entertaining because it's so ridiculous. The claims that they'll come up with that have
yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
no backing.
So I just laugh. It is again rather very entertaining stuff there. All right, so
Just be a
let's
happy warrior.
let's get into a little bit some discussion topics. So
For
one
sure.
question I wanted to ask you is what is it about feminism that you dislike the most? Like if there's just one overall thing that you hate the most, what would you paint it out to be?
I really, really, really have a disgust for people who perpetuate victim mentalities on groups. And I think that it is the creation of victim mentalities in both women in the West, natives here in Canada, African Americans in the States, that has caused for so much conflict. You've got the gender wars, the race wars, and it's caused, the victim mentality has caused for many groups in this victim category to not succeed or achieve to the extent that they can, because they've got this idea that they are being held back by society, and it's created a self-fulfilling prophecy. This happens for women as well, where they now see sexism in everything, and it's just the goggle and lens that they've been given by this feminist indoctrination. And I believe that there hasn't been a group that has shown that creating a victim mentality has a positive result. In fact, it's almost always been negative. So feminism is truly doing worse for women. It's not creating equality. It is creating victim complexes and weaker women that get triggered by other opinions and don't actually build character and individuality. You've got this sisterhood aspect of feminism, the world is against us, sexism is everywhere, and it's just such a toxic ideology, like all victim ideologies are.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can tell you the number one thing. I think that might be second on my list. I think the number one thing I despise about feminism is the level of animosity between men and women that has arrived here in our culture. I think later there's some more discussion topics that I have. So a little preview there is now we have Mgtow, men going their own way, which is kind of a weakened version of what it originally was. And there's a lot of guys there who just hate women. And it's a sad thing to see just how, I mean, if feminism's job was to fight misogyny, they failed miserably. They have absolutely failed because I have never seen as many men, and not just guys who call themselves Mgtow, but just regular guys all just don't want to just wipe their hands clean of women, you know. And I think it's a rather sad thing, you know, watching a bunch of ladies complain about you know, catcalls saying hello beautiful on the street, and now you're all of a sudden misogynistic because you saw someone attractive and just want to talk to them, you know. And this kind of a lot of friction between men and women, I think, does a gigantic disservice to us as a society, you know. Men and women certainly need each other, certainly like each other. I mean, for the most part, there's still people who want to marry and date each other, but as each and every day I get another comment from someone who doesn't want to talk to women, and it's sad. It's a really sad thing to see. And that's one reason why I make a lot of these videos. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because people who know me, they know my videos, they know I'm not a feminist. I'll still have them when they compliment me, and this happens every once in a while. They'll say, I don't mean to be rude, or I don't mean to sound sexist, and they'll preface it by apologizing before they compliment me. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. I appreciate the compliment. And you're right, it's caused for people to be so careful with each other. They've got this innate fear of the other gender. Even when I'm in classes now, if I hear a professor make a joke could be perceived as sexist, I'm kind of wincing at the back in fear for him or her, in fear for them that they might get in trouble from the university. Or nowadays they'll always preface it by saying, oh, that was sexist, it was just a joke. And everyone has to be so careful walking on eggshells with everything they do. And I honestly, yeah, I miss where people could just flirt, where they could have fun and compliment each other. And I remember, I use this example all the time. There's an old movie where the guys and girls are driving in old-fashioned cars. All the girls have their little sunglasses on, and it's in the 50s, and they kind of like flash the guys, and they're all flirting. And like that was honestly, to me, even if it was over sexual, whatever, it was fun, good gender relations. That could never happen today. It's unacceptable to have flirting and catcalling and all those things. And I don't mind when guys whistle at me. I really don't. If you're saying inappropriate things and harassing me, that's a whole different story. But now all of that is unacceptable.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think everyone kind of generally understands that no woman really likes all the obscene stuff. But I think everyone kind of has to perk their ears up to the "hey, beautiful" being thought of as again, as insulting, or somehow is going to hurt their feelings because some guy thinks they're desirable and wants to, you know, talk to them. And I think, and like I said, I made a couple of videos on the street harassment thing, and I always say I could understand if you're getting your butt slapped every single day. I'm with you 100%. Nobody should be touching you. If someone says, "Hey, hello, how are you doing?" That's where I have to draw the line and say this is ridiculous. And there's this one video I made. There's this one girl, I think her name was Haley, right? And she was talking about the street harassment she dealt with, and how she said she literally freezes up if someone says anything other than "hey" or "hello." You know, like someone could walk up to her, hey, you have a couple of minutes? You know, I'm trying to sell some Girl Scout cookies, and she just freezes up. You know, she can't even talk to people, you know, trying to sell things to her because she's just deathly terrified of men on the street, and it's just sad and ridiculous. And I was kind of making fun of her, but if you really think about it, I mean, think about how paranoid you have to be walking down the street and absolutely terrified, you know, if someone says something other than hello. They say, what's up? Oh my gosh. I got to
And
go do
it's
something
barely
about
her
this.
fault. It's barely her fault because she's been indoctrinated to believe that these are all sexist pigs that just want to sleep with her, right? So that's the weakening of women, the taking away of their independence and character and ability to do anything on their own. All it takes is good grace and kindness and a little bit of confidence and character to say, if a guy comes up to you, hey, hello, beautiful. Hi, sorry, thank you so much. It was like, I appreciate it. I have to go somewhere. I'm busy. You have a great day. That's all it
Yeah,
takes. And
exactly. I
walk
think
away.
most people would just walk away. You know, I mean, some guy walked up, hey, you look nice. Oh, thank you. I have somewhere to go. Bam, problem solved. You
I
know,
just finished.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was
um,
there's another video I was thinking about. There's one girl named Bree who says, and it's consistent with her. I've seen her in other videos where she says she wants to be able to not be afraid or to feel the same level of safety men feel when they walk out on the street. You know, which I find to be very interesting because one, you know, her feeling afraid is a feeling. You know, I mean,
yeah.
she's in complete control of that. If she doesn't feel safe, that's up to her. She has to buy a gun, learn martial arts, or do something. But the thing is, there's a complete lack of empathy there too, because she never even thinks about, you know, if men are afraid of walking down the street. And you know, I have a couple of guys on my channel who say they're skinny guys, and you know, they get bullied, or some people might say something mean to them and they think, oh my gosh, someone might jump me or beat me up. And
Yeah,
there's
well,
just
guys are
this,
far more likely to be randomly attacked than women on
yeah,
the streets.
exactly. You know, and like I say, I mean, before we even bring that up, the statistics that most men suffer more physical violence than men, again, there's even no thought of other young men on the street who might not be comfortable because someone might do something, you
Yeah.
know, or someone might hurt them. And I don't know, it kind of blows my mind, this level of self-centeredness that she has, you know, that not only can she do something about her life, you know, this complete lack of power in her life, but that she doesn't even think about the issues that men feel or what men might be going through.
Well, that's the sisterhood thing. I'll read about this all the time. I'll get messages about it actually where people are like, "Why aren't you participating in the sisterhood? Why have you abandoned our sisterhood? Us women are supposed to stand together." It's like they've segregated themselves into this group that's separate from men and that there's some sort of different kind of human being with that needs to be protected by each other. And like it's a very strange thing because it's the abandoning of individualism. They don't see men as individual human. They see them as like the enemy or the other, right? And women
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
band together and work against them or protect themselves from this group that are all a collective. They are all obviously working to jump you. It's not individuals. It's this lack of thinking of people as individuals that is caused for this.
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing about the sisterhood is, even in my personal experience, I've seen ladies hate other ladies. Man, I've seen girls, like, women hate women. It's.
Yeah,
I remember one
it's the
time. It's a true
hypocrisy
story.
of it too.
It's hilarious. I remember one time. I was talking to this one girl, right, and she was talking some good shit about another girl she didn't like. The girl comes into the cafeteria. They sit down, have a conversation, right? One girl
Yeah.
leaves. The first one I was talking to, she leaves. The other girl stays and talks shit about that girl. That's
Oh yeah.
like I've seen this in reality, and it's amazing how they have this idea of a sisterhood. But you can see that there's lots of frictions between lots of young women in our society today.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they hate each other. I
yeah,
played high school sports. I know.
yeah, it's funny to me. It's hilarious. And then even with you for a second, you know, you just had a different opinion about why you're not a feminist, and they jumped down your throat like it was nobody's
Oh yeah.
business. It's amazing. They have this sisterhood idea, and they all hate each other. It's like, how does that work? How do you have a family of people who are stabbing each other in the back?
Because
But
all of their
go ahead.
emotions are on all of their arguments are on emotion. They'll say that they'll say feminism is about equality, then they'll act different. They'll say they have a sisterhood and they love each other, and then in their daily life they'll act different. And it doesn't matter. Their actions they can say whatever they want, and their actions don't have to add up to that. And if you point out that their actions are different, you're a sexist.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah,
trying to
exactly.
silence them.
Yeah, that whole silencing thing. I mean, it's like the level of self-awareness that some of these ladies don't have is amazing to me. Like, even going back to Brie, like, at no point did she ever think that maybe she should do something with her life. It's the world has to bend to her, but she's not an active agent in her life. And even in the stories that she told, even to this day, that video gets me, is because even in the things she was saying, if she ever would have just at some point just decided to say something to some of the guys who are doing things to her, or reject some of the guys who were trying to advance her, she could have avoided all the situations altogether. But she didn't do anything. She just
Yeah.
kind of let it all happen. And this kind of passivity I've noticed a lot with some ladies, because no one is challenging them or telling them you got to do something. I mean, if you want to be equal, you got to nut up, man. Whatever
Yeah,
you
well,
say to ladies, I mean.
I'd suggest you go and, or people listening too. I just wrote an article about Jackie Collins, the writer who just died on Saturday, unfortunately, at 77 years old. Um, she was kind of a critic of modern feminism, but she also identified as a feminist in her own way. And I wrote an article about her because she freaking acted like an equal. She took equality for herself and made it her own. When she wrote raunchy novels that were banned all over, and she always talked about how they need more strong women. So she wrote her own books. She didn't go and beg other people or whine and have Twitter wars. She wrote books with strong women in it. She did it herself. She has a story where she's leaving a newsroom and an interviewer pinches her ass, and she thinks in her head, oh, how dare he? Well, that's what she said. How dare he do that? So she went and pinched his ass right back and said, that's equality for you. She went and she took equality. She acted equal instead of whining about it. She wrote the books with the strong, independent characters, and she acted like one herself. And just an amazing woman. It's just that to me is what modern feminism should be like. Teaching women
Yeah,
or training
exactly.
women to act equal.
And I don't think anyone would have much of a problem with that, really. I think there might be some guys you'll be like, in terms of physical strength, there ain't really much you can do. But if women were, getting the jobs they wanted to have instead of complaining about the fact that there's a lack of representation, which actually is
Yeah.
another interesting issue that I was just watching this one guy talk about how it's wrong that Spider-Man should stay a white cisgendered heterosexual man. And I was sitting here like, dude, if you want to watch a pansexual Spider-Man, go write a script, go to a movie company and turn it in, go get some funding. You can't complain about a lack of representation when you're not willing to create these characters you want to see. Like I
Yeah.
personally, I'm on like the fourth book now in the series. I wanted to read a story I think I'd like to read, so I wrote the story. I didn't make videos complaining about a lack of black characters. No, I made one. I wrote these
Yeah.
books. And the thing that gets me is there's such a lack of agency with some of these people. Like they think that they have to take popular characters and make them gay before it's okay to be
Yeah.
gay,
They
or it's
ask
okay to
other
do that.
people to do it for them. They want to
Exactly.
sit on their couch and complain. And that is not empowerment. And if you want to complain and ask these, especially when they're asking groups, like they're asking men to go and write these strong characters, they're asking people that are not part of their own group that they want representation for. No, go and be the one who makes that, so that you not only have more representation in that industry of your group, but you're creating the characters you want to see. It's a whole generation of people who just want instant gratification without the work behind it.
Yeah,
And
precisely.
we do live in a meritocracy. We have meritocracy. We can go and achieve the things we want, especially in the Western world, particularly in the Western world. And that's where most of the complaining is going on as well, which is just fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I want to move on to another topic I want to chat with you about. Now, I've
Yeah,
called this lady my greatest adversary many times. I don't know if you watch my videos very closely, but you'll know
I've
who I'm
watched a
talking
couple
about
of them.
here. All right. So want your opinion on Lacy Green.
Oh God.
I haven't chatted with very many ladies about how they feel about Lacy's content. So how do you feel about it? Let's just start there. Generally, how do you feel about Lacy Green?
Just her content overall, that's a that's a really difficult question, because it's so easy to just say she's wrong. It's so easy just to say she's ignorant. Like, I don't even know if I can come up with a deeper explanation. I don't understand. She perpetuates the idea of everything being sexist, everything being problematic, and people eat that shit up. They just sit there and they eat it, and they're like, yeah, that beer company is sexist. You're right, bras are sexist. You're right. And it's just such, there's so much, there's a lack of her actually taking her ideas and deconstructing them and seeing if they're real and seeing other ideas. She just spits on paper, this is sexist, and makes her video. And I have a hard time watching them. I have a real hard time watching them.
It's almost incredible to me, honestly. Again, going back to that lack of self, what's the word I'm looking for? Just self-awareness. There you go. There's such a lack of self-awareness, even with Lacy herself. Before we get into that, though, she said herself in one video that literally everything is problematic. Yeah, she literally said that. And it blew my mind. Like, I remember the first time, before I even wrote everything and recorded the video response, I literally just threw my phone on the ground, and it's like, I can't take this anymore. I was like, I can't.
And the fact that she has hundreds of thousands of viewers.
I know. I was like, I couldn't take it anymore, man. Like, my reaction, like in the video response, I'm acting and everything, but genuinely in my mind, I was feeling like I can't take this anymore. It's just too much. Everything, she said, literally everything is problematic. It's like, it means
Anita Sarkeesian does the exact same thing, though. She says, if you look in our world, everything is based around misogyny. Everything has some aspect of patriarchy. And it's so funny because I was talking about feminist stereotypes in a class the other day, university, and we were saying, what are some stereotypes that aren't true about feminists, or some stereotypes about feminists? And I'm like, oh, well, feminists think everything is sexist. And they're like, yeah, this is absolutely not true. And I'm like, what? There's so much to back up that they do see everything as sexist. How can you just dismiss that as not true?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm not really allowed to talk much about women's studies right now, so I was kind of told I'm not allowed to talk about it, so oops, everyone pretend it didn't happen.
First rule of gender studies, you don't talk about gender studies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's amazing to me, just everything being problematic. Like I just said, I genuinely think that your voice is very sexy to me. I just like listening to hear you talk. And that makes me sexist. That's amazing.
Shucks.
But I mean, you can walk down the street. You can see a red car. Obviously, red is a power of masculinity. It represents male oppression. Red must be sexist. It's that kind of crazy nonsense, though, that just blows my mind about some of these feminists. And I read the comment section of Lacy's video, and I'm seeing people say, "Great job. Thank you for this video, Lacy. Thank you." And I was like, I can't take this anymore, man.
It really hurts. It hurts seeing the people in the comments that are like, wow, I never realized that was sexist. It's like, no, you've just bought into a lie.
It's like, no, she wasn't ready. Oh, man. But I think here's the thing. Here's how I feel about Lacy, though. If Lacy wants to talk about sex ed, I have no issues with that. The only criticism for that is, for some odd reason, Lacy thinks she's special because she's a girl who talks about sex. Like, people don't realize that women want to have sex. That's my only criticism of Lacy and her talking about sex and sexuality. I think the only people who might feel that way are like fundamentalist Christians, but no one takes them seriously, so who cares? I mean, I think everyone knows ladies like to have sex, so why Lacy thinks she's special blows my mind. But aside from that, no, it's her feminist propaganda that makes Lacy such an adversary to me, and that not even just that she asserts things, but they're the opposite of reality sometimes. I mean, there's this one video she made called "Does Sexism Hurt Men?" And she didn't even accept that sexism was something that affected men. Sexism was something that affected women, and by proxy, men got hurt because of it. That's how some of these feminists view sexism, that you can't even discriminate against men. And like I said, people, they just eat it up and they accept it. And it's the most nonsensical thing in the world. And yet, again, you have these 13-year-olds who don't even put in the critical thought to say, hey, wait a minute. You know, I mean, blue's a nice color. Blue's not a boy's color, you know? And there's a Barbie doll with a blue dress. You know, common sense doesn't even activate in these people's minds. And it gets to me sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I always watch the TLDR ones that he does of Lacy Green. I love all of the content they're debunking because I know whenever she comes out with a video, I don't have to cringe too hard because I know there'll be an upload by yourself, Sargon, or TLDR soon to watch.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, I would never really even plan on it either. You know, like if Lacy just goes back to making sex edit videos, please, Lacy, just, you know, do your thing, man. But
Even
stop with
then,
the feminist nonsense.
even
Well,
then, she is having consent programs that she's
yeah,
created for
that
universities now.
yeah, and that's a whole nother can of worms. The whole consent thing. Lacy's consent video is nonsense. I don't even want to touch that concept. Like Lacy entirely is just, you know, it sounds like we're on a hate train with Lacy Green, but it's just the opposite of reality sometimes. I think is what blows my mind about it, is that you can look at objective reality and see that what Lacy is saying does not line up with what is happening. And even then, going back to the lack of self-awareness, is Lacy talks about sexual objectification, like she didn't get popular on YouTube by showing her cleavage. You know, like that isn't why people were watching her stuff in the beginning.
People like attractive people. That's every study shows that. They show that young students pay more attention to attractive teachers. They like honestly, like they just like good looking people. It's how humans work. And to not admit that sexuality, especially, and it's a type of objectification that happens with both people, and to act like that while talking about how women should be having more sex and then talking about how objectifying her and her boobs is a bad thing. It's
Yeah, exactly.
very strange.
The bait and switch there is another thing that gets me about some feminists, and that they want to dress however they want to dress, but God forbid if a man notices or looks. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
can't have it both ways. You can either dress that way and accept the fact people are going to look, or you got to change the way you look. I mean, you
That's
know, it's
what's
this.
fascinating about slut walks.
Yeah,
That's what
you
it's.
know, it's this. They want reality to bend to their whim is something that gets me. They want the world to fold into how they want it to feel instead of, you know, taking responsibility and doing different things to get a different result. And
Mhm.
that's, there you go, like you said, with the slut walk. You know, instead of accepting the reality that people are going to have an opinion, they're like, no, 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 it's fine to be a slut. No, people shouldn't judge you. It's like, that's nonsense. People shouldn't judge you. People should have an opinion on anything that you do. I mean, should they share it? No, I don't think so. Not all the time. But to say that people shouldn't have an opinion on you is absurd. Especially
Yeah.
since they have opinions on the men they want to have sex with. You know, they have opinions on what men do. I mean, it's ridiculous as a concept to say, you know, you should judge me by the way I look.
And even
Nonsense.
then, they complain that they're being judged and called sluts, and then they write slut on themselves and walk around at calling it a slut walk. Then they go back and forth. They're like, slut is a derogatory word. Don't say that. And then they say, oh, I'm going to own the word slut. Then how dare you call me a slut? It makes no sense. If you're going to own the word slut and be proud of sleeping with a lot of guys, if that's what you do, and if you sleep with a lot of guys and you find the word slut offensive, don't sleep with a lot of guys, because that's the definition
There
of the
you go.
word. If you don't like
There
the
you go.
connotation, why are you sleeping with a bunch of guys?
See, and you know, there you go with your internalized misogyny, Lauren. You just hating on women everywhere.
That's not hate, it's honesty. Like if you honestly, like when I was in high school and I was like 14, 15 and people called me a prude, I was like, yeah, I'm a prude. So like, so I haven't
There
had
you
sex
go.
at like 14. If a derogatory word is something that you are proud to be, and I don't mean like I said that wrong. But if the word has a connotation with something that you are and you're proud to be, why not just change it from being derogatory and own it? Like
Yeah,
it kind of like Milo Yiannopoulos. People sometimes call him like, oh, you're narcissistic and stuff, and he's like, oh, darling, I'm the only god, right? Like he just owns it. And like,
but yeah, that's the best way to take it. That's the best way to handle it. And that's what, and the reason why I say you have internalized misogyny is I get called a misogynist all the time for just saying the reality of the world, that slut just means promiscuous woman. If you don't want to be promiscuous, don't. You don't
Yeah,
have to do it. You can just stop.
exactly.
And I don't know, and that's one thing that gets me too, are some of the white knights that will come to my channel and defend women's honor as if I'm trying to hurt them, you know, like I'm just trying to be a dick to them. It's like, no. I mean, look, I can see that you don't like being called a slut, so stop being a slut. Problem solution. There you go. Problem solved. But apparently I hate
Honesty
women now.
honesty is unacceptable if it offends people nowadays. We have given up reason and honesty for people's feelings and put feelings ahead of reason. It's a
Oh,
very strange world to live in, and I do understand why people wanted to do that. It is appealing to want people to treat you how you want to be treated, and it's appealing to have people cater to your emotions, but it's not a world that is going to progress or create success, better relations between people, or truth. It's not going to find truth ultimately.
yeah, I agree. I agree. So, moving on to the next topic. I want to chat with you about Kevin Logan. You know who that guy is?
Yeah, I was supposed to do a debate with him, but both of us were pretty busy. I'll have to reschedule it.
Yeah, I noticed that. Someone told me that you're supposed to do a debate with him. I thought you already had it, but I guess
It's
not.
time zones are hard.
Yeah. Someone keeps asking me to talk about Kevin Logan for whatever reason. I understand why, because Kevin Logan. I'm trying. Let me find the best word to describe Kevin to do him justice. He's the best white knight feminists have, but that ain't saying much. I think that's the best
He's
way to
a nice
describe Kevin.
guy. He is a
Kevin
nice
is
guy. I just
Kevin is
disagree with him
certainly
a lot.
no. Kevin is certainly not a knight. Well, maybe to you he's nice. He's not nice to a lot of people that I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe I just don't know enough about him.
he's rather quite the jackass, honestly.
Really? I
Yeah,
watched his debate with Sargon, and I've exchanged with him on Twitter, and he seemed nice, but please
maybe he
do
was nice
enlighten
to you.
me.
No, he was not nice to me. I remember I made the video, which will be the next topic, but to slide into that topic, it was a video I made about hypersensitive people and that whole thing with Nicole Arbor. And so then like he
Mhm.
sends me a tweet and he's like, "Is there no type of bigotry that you won't support?" I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" He's like, your video on fat shaming. I was like, "What are you talking about?" The video is about how sometimes negative criticism helps people. What bigotry is in that video? You know, and then
Yeah.
just even some of his descent into mansphere videos that he makes kind of irks me because he'll quote mine the hell out of a lot of people, and I just find that to be dishonest. I mean, if you're going to respond to the video, but you can't take quotes out of context and then say, "Look how terrible this person is," when
Yeah,
you
I really didn't appreciate the calling Sargon Holocaust denier and everything for having, oh, what's his face? The guy who's working on the Sarkeesian effect on his show. So
yeah,
I do see
Davis
that
Arini.
tendency. Davis
Yeah,
Arena, yeah.
he did that to Davis. He did that in each of his episodes. He did it to Goodfella. And that's one thing that irks me about him is if you disagree with the people. I mean, you can either do the Google Hangout or actually take a video and disagree. But to take clips of them without its appropriate context and then to say, "Hey, look how terrible this person is," it's dishonest. It's not
Mhm.
right. And that's one reason why a part of me can't stand Logan too much. But someone keeps asking me to have a debate with Logan, and
Yeah, you'll have to debate him.
yeah, I might have to talk to him. But he really
He's
irks me
usually
that
pretty
he
good
doesn't
with
make it.
that.
Yeah, I think I have no problem with chatting with him. It's just the quote mining bothers me to incredible
Confront him
degrees.
about it.
Oh, certainly I will if I ever get the opportunity. If he comes on my
Yeah.
channel, I'll talk to him about it and see where that goes.
Yeah, for sure. I'll watch that.
Definitely. So moving on to the one thing I wanted to talk to you about. I'm pretty sure we all know what happened with Nicole Arbor and her
Yeah.
so-called fat shaming video. So let's start off with what are your thoughts on that?
I like the video may not have been based on science or facts, but I saw her point and I found parts of it funny. It's not necessarily my type of humor, but it was overall it was a comedy video, and she has poked fun at every group there. She's poked fun at Jews, she's poked fun at Italians, rednecks, blacks, whites. Like she pokes fun at everybody, and that's what comedians do. I wasn't offended by it. I didn't understand the outrage around it. I did watch one of, oh, what's his name? Stephen Molyneux's videos where he kind of goes from a factual standpoint, and I thought that was a very fair and good response. If you look at Stephen Molyneux and Dear Fat People,
Yeah, I saw that
but it's
video.
very difficult for me to get offended by that kind of stuff, because rather than get offended and start a hate war on something that is meant to be comedy and satire, do something like Stephen Molyneux. Approach it from, here's the science, here's the facts. But a lot of people approached it emotionally and tried to tear her apart and got on this hate train, especially when her ex-boyfriend's story came out about his abuse, which right now we have no facts on, so I'm not going to jump to a conclusion on either side. But a lot of people did jump to conclusions and say she was a abusive and all these things, and quite frankly, we don't have the facts. And I found it the same way, same thing that happens to men when girls claim rape against them and their lives are torn apart on a hate train. I think we need to wait for facts. I've spoke to Nicole
Yeah.
about it, and she's denied the charges, but I've no idea who is in the right there.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
people hate her. People have
Yeah.
jumped to hate her.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I feel the same exact way as you. Someone came to my channel and was like, "You do know that she's abusive, right?" And I was like, "Dude, look at when the video was uploaded and when the information came out. I didn't know, and even then, I still don't know now because Matthew Santoro hasn't said anything. So every time people bring it up, I'm like, I'm reserving my judgment. I can't. I don't know. It's that simple. And as far as that goes, even if she is abusive, if we're gonna look at her stuff objectively, I mean, is she funny? Is she not? I think personally, I think she's getting way too much hate on some of her other videos because I was watching one video she made about why people get divorced, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was actually laughing. It was hilarious, and then I watched another video she did, and I was like, nah, this isn't funny. So for me, she's a hit and a miss. But
Yeah.
I was reading the comments, and people are just, I don't even think they gave her a chance. They just decided to attack her, and then even then, just that she didn't do anything special in that so-called fat shaming video. So like to be more objective and to see if it's a constant thing with Nicole to be over the top and to jump cut and do everything. She didn't
Yeah.
handle the topic any differently than any other topic she's ever done, which is why even for me, like I said, I think it's not really fair to her, as a comedian or whatever. Again, for me, she's a hit and a miss. Sometimes she's good, sometimes she's not. But I don't really, like I said, I don't think it's fair that her other stuff gets criticized harshly without a shot or a chance. No one, like you
It's the
said, no,
emotional world that we live in.
yeah, everyone's just being all emotional and crying about it. But I guess going back to the fat shaming video, in particular, personally, I think if that's the worst thing any fat person's dealt with, they're living a pretty good life because Nicole wasn't even as mean as I've seen some fat people get it. Like I've seen fat people and people dangling Twinkies in their face and whatnot and making fun of
Yeah.
them in person. Like in Nicole's, you can just leave on the
And
internet.
Nicole also offered, she
Yeah.
said she was going to put up diet videos and exercise videos and everything. So even though she was joking and it was satirical, she still said, yeah, no, there are ways that I can help out. And even if that isn't necessarily scientifically, biologically possible, as Stephen Molyneux said, I hate to look at intentions, even if she's wrong, but her intentions were initially to be satirical, and then when people were mad, she tried to offer solutions.
Yeah, it's very ironic how I've watched so many video responses to Nicole, and the constant theme of I don't want to give her any more attention came up, and I was like, you do know you keep on linking her video, right? You can't say, let's not give Nicole more attention, so I'm going to link her video, But the moral outrage is another thing that got me, and that I think one good example of this would be Jacqueline Glenn. You know who Jacqueline Glenn is?
No.
Jacqueline Glenn is an atheist YouTuber here who was dancing on the line of social justice in that video, and it kind of made me sad a little bit. Not only because she's a little hypocritical in the fact that she was saying it's wrong to make fun of fat people because apparently fat people are oppressed somehow, but she makes like she's popular on YouTube because she makes fun of Christians. So she makes fun of
Yeah.
Christians and religion, and that's how she's popular because she's somewhat attractive and people like a lot of atheists like that. And
Yeah.
so it's amazing to me how on the one hand she can go on this tirade, like lots of videos making fun of believers, God forbid you make a video about fat people with the intent to
Yeah,
try and get them to do
exactly.
something. And so I think that guy T had a pretty good comment there, and he was like, I'll laugh at fat jokes, I'll laugh at Christian jokes, and I will too. If it's a funny joke about religion, it's a funny joke about religion, and I don't get
Mhm.
upset or offended. But the thing that bothered me was how she can simultaneously make fun of Christians, and yet, God forbid, someone makes fun of fat people. That's going to hurt their feelings. It's like, did you ever think that maybe there's some Christian who might get his feelings hurt because you're making fun of his belief system? And it's incredible. But then I guess some people would say that you can choose to believe in God, but you can't choose to be fat, which is somewhat absurd because you can. If you choose to lose weight, you can do something about it. Well, some people can. So even
Yeah.
even then, both being fat and being a believer is still choices. It's still decisions people make, right? And if
And
we're
some
gonna,
people don't even make that. Some people grow up in like Bountiful, BC here, where you grow up in a very, very religious area from a
yeah,
child, and that's just what everyone believes in that area.
yeah, or you grow up with your mom giving you a bunch of food that's not healthy, and of course that
Yeah.
happens. But overall, when you become an adult, you can still make choices and decisions. And
Yeah.
if we're gonna say that it's okay to make fun of one group of people, we gotta say it's okay to make fun of another group of people too.
Of
Otherwise,
course.
you got to be consistent, and there's this lack of consistency here, and a lot of these like I said, like these moral faggots is what I call them sometimes. That they just want to feel self-righteous. They just want to come to the defense of fat people because I guess it makes them feel better. But at no point did they ever think, hey, these fat people really do. Some people need a kick up, man. Some people need you to galvanize them. And it's not everybody, like I said in one video. Everyone doesn't react well to it, but it did help some people. And there were some guys who were fat who made video responses to Nicole, and they said just that it did help them wake up and say, maybe I need to do something. So it wasn't
Mhm.
everybody. So and that's one thing
And
I
she
don't
even
think is
said it
fair.
wasn't targeted. She even said it wasn't targeted at people who were just packing a few extra pounds. She was saying morbidly obese.
Yeah,
Like if you are getting health problems from this.
yeah, and I think Karen Strawn came in and dropped me some knowledge because that's what Karen does. And Karen
Mhm.
said the reason why these people were the most offended, the ones who can't change, is, well, for that reason, is that they can't do anything, is that they try and they can't, and that's why their feelings were hurt. So even though
Mhm.
Nicole did disclaim it and say, listen, I'm not talking about you, it still bothered them because, they're sensitive about that because they can't do anything. And I understand that to a certain extent, and that I can understand you still being bothered. But to be outraged when she told you that you were not the target, I think is still taking it a little too far.
There's always going to be people that are going to make fun of things about you. There's always going to be people that are going to make fun of the way you look, the way you talk. There are always going to be bullies, and it's especially when it's satire. Like satire is a completely different realm, but in the real world and in satire, we need to learn to handle that. We need to toughen up a little, quite frankly. And it's the catering to emotions once again that keeps always coming back to that is causing for this outrage culture. I've been made fun of. I've been picked on for how I look. I was the frumpiest kid in high school. Like I just, especially early high school, didn't know how to dress, do my hair, anything, and I
Man,
got
let's
picked on
let's not even talk about high school, man. Let's
right? No, but
let's
I
let's
got
not.
picked on a little bit, and you learn to deal with that. You grow up and become an adult, and you learn to look at things objectively and create arguments and not ad hominems or trying to destroy someone's life through offense. But I guess some people didn't grow out of that because of this culture that gives everyone a trophy for participating. This culture that says everyone's feelings are correct. Come over to your safe space where for some reason you're allowed to be in this safe space, but the person that is making you feel unsafe, they don't get one and their life has to be destroyed.
Yeah, they don't get a safe space. Oppressive shitlords don't get safe spaces.
Yeah,
Everywhere's
no.
a safe space for them.
Apparently, yeah. Even when their life is crumbling around them and everyone hates them, they're in a
Yeah,
safe space.
yeah. Roosevelt is always safe. He's an oppressive shitlord. Roosevelt has a patriarchy shield. Everything. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, that beer actually didn't hit his face. It hit the safe space outer layering around his body.
That's exactly what happened. But no,
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. You have to deal with adversity to get stronger. Otherwise, you're gonna be really hypersensitive. I just got done recording a video about that, and that if you don't meet these type of bullies, or you don't meet these people who treat you badly, you're never gonna learn how to deal with it, you know, and you're never gonna get stronger and get better. And I think that's a gigantic disservice, especially for women. I've noticed lots of ladies get coddled a lot more than men, and lots of men don't get built back up, which I think
Hmm.
might be the topic of some other video I might make. And
Hmm.
that a lot of people are really quick to defend the honor of women. You know, even if you say the honest truth about single mothers, and that being a single mother is not a positive thing. Either your
Yeah.
husband died or the guy left. So it's not a good thing. And if you just say that, I mean, like there's this guy Tommy Sotomayor who just kind of speaks the truth that it's not a good idea, and he gets lots of hate from some black women and guys too, you know. And but if you say anything negative about men, it's almost automatically accepted as truth. You know, all guys are cheaters, all guys do X, Y, and Z. They just immediately accept that. You know, nobody ever thinks about, you know, maybe that's not helpful to young men's self-esteem to tell them that they're fucked up individuals, you know.
Not only
So
does it cause for um, like destruction of young men's self-esteem, but it also causes for women to perpetually do things that are negative towards their life and towards men. If men are always the bad guys, it's fine if you treat them like crap. If single mothers are supported and being told that's a good thing, that's an empowering thing, you don't need no man, snap, snap, it's going to encourage negative behavior and negative treatment of one gender.
yeah, exactly.
Which is what it has done in the States. You'll see when the Democrats brought in subsidized single motherhood, especially to the ghettos and African American areas in the US. African Americans had higher marriage rates than whites in the early 1900s. And as soon as those laws were passed to subsidize single motherhood, that dropped, and you started seeing
Oh
more
yeah,
gang violence and missing
absolutely.
fathers and everything. And you can see statistically the negative effects of subsidizing single motherhood. And also
Yeah,
on young boys' self-esteem, joining gangs because they have no father. It's just, yeah,
yeah, a
it's
lot of people don't know the primary reason a lot of young men who get into these gangs are doing it, because it's a sense of community and family. Like a lot,
mm-hmm.
and listen, gang culture is terrible. Don't I'm not defending it, but that's why they're doing it. You know, if you more fathers were in the home, you know, more men teaching men how to be men, we'd see a significant drop in all of this. But you know, problem solution is not, you know, logic and all that. Hurts feelings, man. It hurts feelings.
Exactly. They're throwing money at the problem and
Yeah,
making it worse because of
yeah, and
that.
I don't really understand why it's such a radical statement to say children need their fathers, though. Is one thing that blows my mind. In that I think Goodfella, I'll never forget this comment Goodfella put on a video, is that this video called "Do Children Need Their Fathers?" or "Are Fathers Necessary?" And Goodfella
Mm-hmm.
said, I mean, what kind of culture do we live in that we even have to ask the question, are fathers necessary for their children? And I think he's absolutely right. You know, there's this constant bashing of fatherhood and maleness. And that's not even talking about masculinity so fragile. We don't even have to talk about that. But it's amazing to me though, this constant attack on just men and masculinity, and how if you even defend it, or if you just speak the obvious truth that children need their fathers, then all of a sudden you're a terrible person, or you're taken away from women, which you're not. No one is saying that you don't need mothers, or just saying
Building
you
up
need
men is
fathers
taken
too.
away from women.
Exactly, somehow, like it's a zero sum game, and it's absurd.
I would not be the person I am today without my father, and I have so much appreciation and respect for him.
Yeah,
And
likewise.
when I see these campaigns on both Mother's Day and Father's Day that try to build up only women, even on Father's Day when they
Oh
do I
yeah,
can't remember what the exact campaign was, but
it
it's
was
like forget
Happy
about
Father's Day,
fathers.
Mother. Yeah, Happy
Yeah,
Father's Day,
exactly.
Mother.
Everything is taking away from that importance of the father. Even in media today, you look at like characters like Homer Simpson that are just seen as the dumb idiot husband. All these TV shows that are popular, it's always the dumb husband and the mom's running everything, the kids and everything. And we have decreased the value of men, and also decreased their role in children's lives, which is also what I believe is contributing to this problem. And
Yeah.
people are going to get mad at me, Lauren, them traditional gender roles. Well, I'm sorry. I honestly think that traditional gender roles do have a positive effect on children's lives.
Yeah, and that's a good point there. I remember some people will call me like a tradcon and traditional conservative. I'm not even on the
Mhm.
left right paradigm. I'm just a nig on the internet. So I'm not even a conservative, and some people call me that. I'm like, no. I mean, if that's reality, if traditional gender roles is what built the foundation of our society, it doesn't matter if you're a traditional conservative. Reality is, and if the reality is that fathers being in the home helps out children, helps them live successful lives, then it doesn't matter what you should be called, you know. And
Yeah.
even then, going on to the traditional gender roles, I mean, I personally don't think anyone should be forced into doing it. And to that,
Yeah.
I understand feminists. But to say that it's evil unto itself, it's like, nah, you can get that bullshit out of here.
Well, I think Gavin McInnes did a really great job. Like, I'm a libertarian and I don't believe in enforcing any of my personal values on other people. But I will advocate for what I believe to be true. I will advocate for, like, I don't think drugs are good for you. That doesn't mean I think we should have prohibition.
Yeah, there you go. I agree.
But anyways, with Gavin McInnes, he came out and I thought his video was hilarious, where he was telling the woman on TV, even if it was
Oh yeah.
a little bit rude, where he's telling her, "You'd be much happier with kids. You'd be much happier at home right now." And he's, to an extent, he was trolling, but there's also some truth. We're starting to see women become less and less happy. We're
True.
starting to see their happiness decline as they're going out working. And there are women that are going to be more inclined to go and work and do a full-time job, but a lot of women are not happy in that position just based off statistics. And I think that it could be a cause that of how women are. We are different from men. That is a fact. SJWs, freak out all you want, but women and men have, even if there are the exceptions, women and men do have differences biologically and psychologically, and it's a very complex thing. And we're getting into the studies about that. I'm no expert, but reading the studies, they are showing that women are less happy in these new roles that society is encouraging them to go into.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, I can only just speculate, just think, thought experiment. Personally, probably a lot of men probably weren't super ecstatic about going to war or working in coal mines. But I think the balance is somebody did appreciate that. You know, I mean, having a wife or having kids who actually cared about you somehow maybe helped these men out, you know, because those are some shitty roles to have to go work and possibly die if you hit the wall just, you know, too hard when you're down in a coal
Absolutely.
mine. You know, we getting black lungs and shortening your lifespan. It's and I think a lot of, I don't know, maybe women and feminists, well, I know feminists don't care, but they kind of miss that. You know, men kind of need to be loved, you know, need to have someone appreciate them for doing something. You know, I've
Mhm.
noticed there's lots of young men who are willing and able to go fight and go work for someone, but they want to at least be appreciated. You know, at least say, hey, you did a great job or you matter to somebody. And I think, yeah, like you said, this constant devaluing of men and masculinity is certainly just hurting a lot of these young men's self-esteem because they don't have that sense of identity or that appreciation for helping create the world, you know, make the world the way it is.
And if women don't want that role of appreciating their man, taking care of him, respecting him, if they don't want that role, and not all women are going to want that role, then they need to act equal. They need to go and go into coal mines too. They need to go and
Yeah.
go to war too. They need to go and do these things. If feminists want equality, stop advocating for women to have nice air conditioning to office positions. We need more equality down in the sewers. We need more equality in hard labor
Yeah.
jobs, right? But they won't accept that. They want women in those high up CEO positions. They won't take the hard labor jobs that men have, even though they're advocating for a very specific kind of equality.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and so that kind of moves me on to the next topic. I wanted your opinion on this one is the demonization of nice guys. You know, so to prime you up for this, I've noticed just over the years that nice guys get a really bad rap from pretty much everybody, and a part of me doesn't really understand completely why. In that you have the feminists who demonize nice guys and they just want women trophies, and then you have the dude bros who demonize nice guys because they're pussies apparently, or it's a bad thing to want to be respectful to a lady or something like that. You know, and then you have the pickup artists. They'll lambast nice guys too, and it's an amazing thing to me. You know, have men and women who will just be upset with men who are trying to be nice. And I could understand passivity in that, men who let women walk all over them. Certainly I could understand why you would be distasteful of that. But to treat a woman well, or to hold the door, be gentleman, chivalry, all of that, to do that and be demonized, that's something that is marvelous to me, but not in a good way. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Oh no, I feel so bad when guys open doors and women freak out at them. Say, I don't need you to open the door. How dare you be sexist, misogynistic? It's ridiculous. And like I said, guys are afraid to compliment me now because they think I'm going to freak out on them. And it's a very, very strange world. And you also have women who will go and they'll date this always happens with women. They'll go and date the bad guys and be attracted to the bad guys. And then they'll be like, oh, I want a nice guy. Why isn't he being nice to me? Why can't he just be like one of those guys, right? There's always the regret after. But I think this hatred and demonization of the nice guy is coming from two different types of nice guys. You've got the one that the dude bros make fun of, and also like the internet makes memes about, which are the guys who come out and they're like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. Why didn't she like me? Why didn't she go out with me? The ones that expect sex or expect women because they're nice to them. And then you've got the actual nice guys that are just in general nice guys that feminists just demonize for saying hi to them. So the one side probably does need a little bit of, hey, wake up to reality. You don't no one deserves anything for simply being nice. But then there's the other side that's genuinely being nice and being demonized and don't deserve to be demonized because of what they're doing. In fact, they should be appreciated as a human being for being a nice person.
Exactly, and I think that's why I try to make the distinction between the passivity of just doing what someone told you to do against the action of being kind and trying to make someone's life better. And I think the two concepts get confused a lot because they oftentimes, the actions are very similar, but the difference again is when you're one of those passive guys. I think one of the more guys who just kind of sit on the sidelines and let the woman do whatever she wants to do, or is constantly trying, kind of put on the facade of the nice guy, because there's some real guys who will pretend to be nice and are just really passive and aren't really active in trying to treat women well, versus the men who are, kind-hearted and actually, want to invest in a lady's life. And that's why I do try to make a distinction between those two, because you're absolutely right. The guys who are just, expecting things from ladies, which, I mean, in all honesty, I can't blame them 100%. If you ever ask what she wants from a guy, she will tell you that those are the qualities that she wants.
Yeah, and
So
then when he acts like that,
you
she's
can't
like,
live your
oh,
life for X amount of years. Yeah, exactly. You can't live your life for X amount of years hearing that you're supposed to be this nice guy, and then come to find out that the opposite is what works. I mean, of course, that's going to cause frustration. And that's another thing that confuses me, is how there's a lack of empathy for being and doing it, finding out it doesn't work. Because that's how I was when I first started out in high school. I was, and I was genuine about it too. I was genuinely a really nice person, and I loved being nice to the girl I wanted to date. But I saw that the opposite was working, and it confused the shit out of me. Honestly, it didn't make sense to me at the time, and so I
women do
think
not make sense to men.
I think they can really add
Sorry, I've watched it my whole life.
I mean, yeah, there you go.
Where
Go ahead.
women just, sorry, you're cutting out. I've watched it my whole life where women will kind of coax in the nice guy to do. You keep cutting out. I'm so sorry. No, that with the nice dynamic and treating girls nice for things, women work very strange. Like you said, they'll ask for something, but it won't actually be what they want or what they'll pursue. And a lot of the times, especially women who don't want to hurt a guy's feelings or are just being mean, they'll tell a guy to change a certain way, and then even though they know they'll never be interested in him because of physical features. But a lot of there is some dishonesty to telling guys to act that way, because women, and I'm saying this in a general sense, it's not true for all women, but this is so hard to explain because I'm just basing it off of my life experience and what I've watched. But so many women, yeah, they do want that bad guy. They want that guy who isn't necessarily going to be the best for them, that doesn't have all those features. This is just from my experience in my friend group, but they'll ask for those nice features, and then they'll try to change that
Yeah,
guy,
but you want to know,
which is it's very, very strange. They want to challenge. They want
yeah,
something to work
it's
at, and then
very
they also want something to complain
interesting.
about.
Yeah, like you and I live in America, you live in Canada, and we can both report the same exact thing about ladies that we've seen. And one thing that gets me is when I make some of these videos, or the white knights who get upset with me, and some of the feminists, and of course they'll call me, I'm bitter and all these mean names. But the thing that gets me is they never hear that, once again, you're in Canada, I'm in Florida, and we can report the same exact thing in the Western world. There's got to be something going on if we can report the same exact findings in two different, and we can consistently see that what ladies say they want doesn't line up with what they're picking. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I can
And
see how
so
that would be extremely frustrating.
with that in mind, exactly, that a lot of these young men who are frustrated and don't understand it, how they get demonized so often from a lot of different people, and that they're just trying to understand what's going on in the world. And I don't think that they get such a bad rap from everybody around them.
And yeah, that's just I don't know whether to categorize it as something that is happening because we're not taught to speak to people straightforward and honestly, and we're kind of taught to avoid direct conflict and all this, or if it's just the aspect of high school not understanding the other gender and not being able to read or express how gender relations work. But it doesn't seem to get much better when you get older, so it gets a little better. Women start to understand more what they actually want when they get older, but in high school it's really bad. And I can't, I'm no social scientist.
No, neither am I. I mean, again, we're both just talking reality, what we've seen. And the thing is, growing up, I've met some ladies who like nice guys, who genuinely like being treated well. So I know for a fact there are some women out there, but unfortunately, what they say they want does not line up with what they pick. So only like a couple of women are consistent in X, and they pick
both
X.
men and women have trouble. That is something that is pretty consistent. The girl saying she wants a nice guy and going for the bad guy. But I think both men and women it takes a bit for them to figure out the kind of person they want. A lot of guys in high school will also want the kind of perfect Mary Sue girl or something, and still realize later, oh, she was actually kind of using me and stuff, and I don't think I want a woman like that, right? And pursue a different kind of woman. But yeah, later on, all the Mgtows are going to go crazy in the comments over this discussion.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. We're going to talk about Mgtow in just a second. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I think people realize the older they get, like the kind of person they're looking for, especially after they try dating a few times and realize that either, hey, looks aren't everything after the first few dates. Maybe I'm not into guys who are super macho and strong, and I want a guy who's more of a bookworm. Maybe I want, but we figure it out eventually, and each individual case is going to be different. There are generalizations we can make, but it's a lot of indecisiveness of what we want and what is kind of the status quo.
Yeah, good point. But for that topic, you got to move on to Mgtow. I did want your thoughts on men going their own way. So let me preface this with this, in that personally, I rather like majority of the community, in that a lot of men are more focused on trying to become better men. However, there is no way I could ignore the level of real misogynists that are coming into the Mgtow community. And it's rather sad that a lot of people's outward opinion on Mgtow is these misogynists who are seeing the similarities between feminism and Mgtow. Now, of course, the gigantic difference between feminism and Mgtow is people take feminism seriously, and a lot of people call Mgtow misogynists who can't get a date. But the fact that there is an ideological component coming from men going their own way that people are picking up on, I think it's a really sad thing because their opinion of Mgtow is they see the misogynist, and I do think those people do need to be talked about. So with that preface out the way, I would like to hear your opinion on the topic of men going their own way.
Yeah, just Mgtow in general. If you want to go your own way and don't get married, I can't blame you. Go ahead, do your thing. I really have no animosity towards Mgtow. In fact, I've got Mgtow friends. If you want to go your own way and don't not get married because of how ridiculous the contract is and how it can ruin your life, yeah, that makes sense. In fact, I don't know, I may or may not get married one day. It's not a end all be all for me either. But yeah, no, I understand where it started from, and you're starting to see, you're actually, this is what I wasn't convinced that women would start panicking over Mgtow, but after the sex bots thing where feminists started freaking out that there's going to be sex robots,
I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah, you're starting to see them freak out that men are getting tired of this. They're getting tired of either women who request to be treated equally but don't act equal, or women who don't want to be pampered and don't respect them. And I can understand, that's not all relationships, of course. There's going to be women that differ from that, and thank God. But I do understand where Mgtow are coming from. I think that, unfortunately, you're right. There are actual, there are people who are extremists in the Mgtow movement that have tainted the name. And I have people in the Mgtow movement that contact me and they're all suspicious of me and won't talk to me or listen to me because I'm a woman and stuff. But that's not all of them.
Yeah.
And the general idea of just not getting married because you don't want to deal with potentially ruining your life, yeah, totally fair.
Yeah, I'm glad you have a more balanced view of Mgtow, definitely, because I agree with that completely. I would love to get married, honestly, but I can't ignore the fact that the marriage laws are ridiculous. They
I
are
have to look
they're
into
shitty.
prenuptial agreements. I've heard bad, initially I was told like, yeah, just get a prenup if you do get married one day, but I've heard bad things about that as well. So God knows, I don't even think the Catholic should be involved in it.
Yeah, some prenups can actually get overturned or written out by some lawyers if they're pretty good. I've heard it happen before, but even then, most ladies don't even like to get married. Throw that out there. Most women are gonna be, a little taken aback that you even suggested that. So it's not an easy conversation to have. So even if you are successful in decided, but yeah, overall, I like the community overall in the fact that a lot of guys are. I've met very wise men in Mgtow, very intelligent guys, and very kind-hearted men. I just really don't like the bad rap that it gets from outside people, and that people come by and say it's just a bunch of it's feminism for men, because it's not. It's not. Feminism is another can of worms.
The crazy, yeah, it is a different can of worms. The crazies that are in Mgtow, the ones that actually hate women, that are very loud, make their videos, comment on all the videos, they are the ones giving it a bad rap.
Yeah, and
I've heard
so
TLDR talks about it a lot. That's real TLDR. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Mgtow, or he just doesn't plan on getting married.
He says he's Mgtow by definition, but he refuses to take the title because of the extremists.
Yeah, I don't blame him either.
No, I don't blame any man for not wanting to get married, personally.
No, I don't blame him for not identifying with the movement or being it's such a thing where it's like it's so much of your individual choice, and I don't understand why things have become like. I guess I do understand why it's become a movement, but a lot of it I just see as more personal choice. It's kind of like shoulder shrug, whatever.
Yeah, the vast majority of it originally that's what it was. Well, originally it wasn't that. The very first form of Mgtow was this guy named Rob Fetters, and his forum came up with Mgtow. It technically is not supposed to be pronounced, but fuck it. And originally he just wanted over time guys who don't want to get married, and then now we have the extremists who have an incredible disdain for women. So that's very short, condensed version of its evolution. But overall, like I said, I like the community, and a lot of wise men there. I really like them. The misogyny there, I think, is really what really bothers me so much. Like I said earlier today, is that we're really starting to see more men hate women. In that, if feminists, if they're trying to get men to hate women, it's working, and
Exactly.
it's working
Yeah.
magic. Yeah, they know what they're fucking
They
doing.
have to create their own problems. They have to create sexism. They have to create disdain for women, and they're, like you said, they're doing it effectively. They put up a sign that says "No cis white men allowed here." Of course, cis people and white people are going to get mad, and then they're going to claim racism and misogyny. So when Mgtow say, hey, there's been a lot of women abusing the law and the marriage system, and then they say we don't want to get married, and then it goes even farther, and a guy has his life kind of ruined and torn apart, and then he disdains women because of a feminist system. Yeah, and I think it's wrong for, even if it's wrong for anyone to disdain another gender because of the actions of a few, but they are
Yeah.
creating, I do believe they have a hand in that.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned earlier was the panic that some ladies felt with the sex robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally, I saw that coming a mile away. I remember I literally had a conversation with some people about if they make sex robots, some feminists, they're going to go crazy about it. And we were absolutely correct, because the truth is, and reality is, man, ladies want men. You know, I'll say this as a fact. Women want men, need men in their lives, and that's why they're terrified, I think. I don't think the women who aren't feminists, I think they're a little terrified that feminists are fucking it up for everybody because they want men in their
Yeah,
lives, and men
totally.
want
Well,
women in their lives. You know.
yeah, and I think it's healthy to have them both doing that. I think it's healthy to have healthy gender relations where you're having men and women work as a team together and love each other and participate in flirting and all these things. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're having that
Being a
ruined and
tradcon
destroyed,
though,
especially.
tradcon,
I feel
internalized
that
misogyny. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
all of the normal people, and by normal I mean the people that aren't involved in this gender war, that are kind of sitting to the side wondering, why can't I have any normal dates? Why can't I find anyone? Like they have no idea what's going on with
Yeah, you
all of
got the
this.
innocent bystanders. You know, hey, beautiful. Oh, you misogynistic pig. You know, they're just
Yeah, what
confused.
the hell? And
What
and
does that
women
even
who
mean?
go up and a guy's like, I'm Mgtow, and she's like, and she's a totally a girl that doesn't want to ruin his life or anything, and he's like, no, there
Exactly.
so many women are trying to ruin my life, blah blah blah, and these people on the sides that are like, what in the world is going on? And neither side is like, yeah, it's a tough situation overall, and I just hope we can start seeing each other as individuals and judging each other as individuals in individual situations, and call out, yeah, both sides need to, the extremists on Mgtow and extremists MRAs, as few as they are. I don't think there are as many extremists
Yeah,
as there
I
are in
haven't.
feminism.
Yeah, I haven't. Personally, I haven't seen very many extreme MRAs, but
Yeah,
I won't
a
put it
a
past
lot
them
of MRA
existing.
stuff is based in fact. I don't identify as an MRA just because I don't see. I'd rather just be called egalitarian, but I will say that MRA is based more in fact than feminism is for certain.
Yeah, and sure, I'm certain. Again, I'm sure that there are some, but personally, I've never seen an MRA be really mean or rude or be extreme. I mean, there might be some. I haven't seen it. So,
Mm-hmm.
to that level, I don't really. It certainly is the same as well. Well, some people say it is. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on that.
Well,
But
just
most
anyone,
MRAs I
basically
know,
anyone who hates a whole
yeah,
group simply because of one or a few individuals, or even a lot of individuals. Even if it's a lot, I still believe that we should treat people as individuals, understand generalizations, but treat people like individuals.
no, I agree completely. That we should just really start, going with Martin Luther King said, man, judge people on the content of their character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be the only real solution, in that we have to encourage more people to think and be individuals, and think for yourself and judge people as individuals and not be afraid to judge. And there's a great fear of judgment people have. And it's not wrong to judge people. You just have to be open to the fact you'll be judged, and you have to have a criteria. But it's fine to have an evaluation on someone's behavior. Like, it's okay. And there's a lot of people who are afraid to judge and be judged, and they just want to be with the group
Yeah.
and the pack and all of that. And it's not healthy in the long term. I think more people should try to strive to be individuals who want to make the world a better place.
We need to build people's character, that's for sure. And this doesn't mean
Certainly.
treating people like individuals doesn't mean we don't acknowledge facts. It doesn't mean we don't acknowledge that generalizations and stereotypes are sometimes based on legitimate things. But still acknowledge that people can stray from those stereotypes and that you have to get to know someone to truly understand them.
Exactly. All right, so I got one last topic for chatting, and it is the Shout Your Abortion hashtag that came out
God.
earlier this week. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on that.
I thought it was disgusting. I think that abortion should never be a thing to be celebrated, and it's very strange. It's funny that people say they make a stereotype, quote unquote, of feminists as being fetus killers, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's just a stereotype of feminists. They aren't actually. You're just exaggerating." Well, no. Look at them. They're hashtag shouting their abortion as if it's a positive thing to have an abortion. I'm not necessarily saying it's a evil thing or a like getting an abortion, but honestly, shouting your abortion, like, God, killing your unborn child, like, come on. And I'm not necessarily, I personally believe in promoting a culture of life, promoting a culture that encourages people to not have abortions. I am a libertarian, so not necessarily making it illegal. I'm not against contraception or anything, but I do think that when we have a culture where we're starting to think that infanticide and very late-term abortions are okay and something to be celebrated, we really need to start introspection. We really need to take a look at where we're headed.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you personally, I absolutely despise abortions entirely. That being said, I agree. I don't really think we should heavily illegalize it and try to regulate it. I think, me personally, I think the best thing to do is to encourage more people to be responsible and, think about who
Exactly.
they're having sex
Promote a
with.
culture of life. Promote.
Yeah,
Not.
exactly.
It's the same thing with drugs. I don't think we should have prohibition on drugs, but yeah, we should probably encourage people not to do them. We should probably encourage people
Yeah,
not to
exactly.
do, especially not necessarily like marijuana or whatever, but like hard drugs. Like, we should promote a
Like
culture that
heroin, like we
stay away from that. Yeah.
I mean, and so that's how I feel about abortion. I personally absolutely despise it entirely. But I can understand what would happen if there's complications or even if a woman gets raped. I could understand it. But the saving grace of reality is that one, rape is on the decline here in the Western world, and two, about 1%, from what I've read, 1% of the reason, or the 1% of the women who are asked why they've gotten an abortion is because they were raped. So that's actually a great thing. And the only problem is the only reason a lot of abortions are justified is because people are talking about rape and incest. But again, from the statistic I've read, less than half of the percentage of women studied got an abortion because of incest. So the vast majority of reasons why women are getting abortions is because they don't think they can take care of it or they don't think they're ready to be mothers. That's the vast majority of the reason why. And I think it's a sad thing that if we had more responsible people thinking about, getting plan B or wearing condoms and whatnot,
Well,
we could vastly decrease, Go ahead.
even then, there are a lot of people who want to adopt. We need to make that less difficult. We need
That's true.
to, there are a lot of people who want to adopt. We also need to get rid of the stigma that a woman making a mistake, and like, of course, a teen pregnancy is always going to have a stigma of, oh, hey, you were sleeping around in high school. But we also need to support those women who make the choice to go on and have the baby. I've seen it in my high school, and yeah, being supportive is the best way, because if a woman gets pregnant in high school or whatever and she is just completely demonized and torn apart, the next chick who gets pregnant is going to go and get an abortion. That's what's going to happen, because she's not going to want to go through that,
I can
right?
understand
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, that's one thing I try to encourage a lot, especially when I talk about slut shaming, is you gotta have sex with people you like, man. Have sex with men who might stay with you, and I don't really even say that you can't be promiscuous, because that's a lie. You can do whatever you want, but I think we should try to encourage more people to be a little more piggy, have sex with people who care about you, or have sex with people who, if you get pregnant,
Yeah,
he'll
and
be there.
even
You won't have to worry about that.
and getting pregnant in high school or whatever, later in life, and doesn't necessarily mean you're a slut. You could have sex with one person to get pregnant, right? So it's not necessarily even an issue of slut
Yeah,
shaming.
so I don't even, being a slut is, so if you're not promiscuous, then you should be fine.
Yeah.
That's not really my concern. My real concern are the children that might be, who might either one,
Yes.
be ripped apart, or two, grow up without their dads. And that's why, and I get called a misogynist a lot, and that's the one time it bothers me when people call me a misogynist, because I say you should be, think more about who you're having sex with. I call me misogynist for anything else, I don't care. But I mean, I'm not saying that to hurt these ladies or to hurt these people. It's just a good idea.
Yeah. And it
It's
goes for both genders.
yeah.
Don't have sex with
Young,
irresponsible people. Like,
I mean, and that's one thing I think is, me personally, I think the best solution is to try to avoid it altogether and be more selective and be more wise. Because me personally, I don't like abortion at all. But does that mean the state should tell us what to do about it? I don't know. The state kind of sucks right now.
yeah.
So
It's
I'm
it's
not
a
really
it's a
big.
difficult situation that would take far more research to actually have a deep conversation about it. But yeah, overall, I think we kind of agree to an extent on that one.
Yeah, personally, that's yeah. So. But as going back to the hashtag, no, I completely agree with you. It's kind of disgusting. It's it does make you think what's going on in our culture, that some ladies think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just it's fascinating. Sargon did a great video on it.
Yeah,
He was
I
pretty
saw it.
frustrated with that too. Everyone was frustrated. Even the people that were a lot of people commenting that were pro-choice and very pro-abortion and everything. They were saying they were disgusted by it too, because even if you even if you're very pro-choice, pro-abortion, it's a medical procedure, and celebrating it just for the simple fact of pissing others off who genuinely believe, especially religious groups who genuinely believe they are murdering people and genuinely believe they're taking away the lives of these young children, and feminists doing that simply to piss them off and hashtag shout our murder, which is basically what it looks like to a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's not a healthy argument. Arguing that I'm pro-choice so that a woman can continue living her life and not have a stigma around her. That's an argument. Whether it's true or not, or whether it's a good argument or not, is besides the question. But what they were doing was they were legitimately doing something that was going to appear disgusting and disturbing to, not that it shouldn't be allowed, it should 100% be allowed because I believe in free speech, but it was not a appealing argument in any sense of the way. I didn't find it an appealing campaign in any way.
yeah. I don't pretend to understand everything feminists do, because I don't. And that's one of those things. I don't really understand what they were thinking or why they thought it was a good idea.
Well, free speech kind of exposed their methods of approaching
Yeah,
these
no,
issues.
yeah,
So
exactly. For me, I don't really even think it's an issue of free speech. I'll, I'm consistent 100%. You can say it however you can feel how you want to feel, say however you feel. I'm not saying we should censor them at all. It's just disheartening to me, though, to see
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Because there's no real way around it. Something's gonna die when you get an abortion, and
yeah,
saying that to mess with people who think it's a human being. I mean, which it is. It is a human being.
yeah,
If it's not a human, I don't know what it is. And
yeah.
that's I know that that's really rude. So they can say it, but it speaks more of their character than anything else.
And it's funny how much they talk about, sure, you can believe in free speech, but be polite for how they approach it. As long as you agree with me, it's fine. You don't have to be polite if you're on the right side.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
you
that
put
was
me in a bad mood now.
I apologize for that.
Go cuddle my hedgehog. Oh, you shitlord. Patriarchy.
Just go. You gotta go watch some jokes. Watch some fat people jokes. That might cheer you up.
Jokes about
Go watch
anyone.
Nicole's
Truly.
video.
I love
Uh,
I love libertarian jokes too. Libertarian, even jokes against my own like beliefs, I find hilarious. Have you ever read the Libertarian Police Department in the New Yorker?
I have not. No.
Oh, it's the greatest. I'm gonna send it to you over Twitter right now. You'll
Right.
enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I remember. I'm a Christian, and I remember Eddie Griffin was making fun of Christians, and I was busting a gut. I mean, a good joke's a good joke.
Exactly. We were talking about earlier, and it's the best when people can take that with grace and good humor who are a part of that group, because comedians always talk about how they're going to offend everyone. There's always going to be someone in the room that's going to be offended by something, and yeah, you need to learn to take it with grace and good humor.
Yeah, and I think that's a real skill for a lot of comedians when you can make someone laugh about a serious topic.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like for example, the topic of suicide is a pretty grim one to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, who was it? It's coming to me.
I
A
believe
lot
in
of
you.
people hate him. It's it's no, it's coming. It's coming. Just give me a second. What's his name? Dane Cook. There we go. Dane Cook
Oh yeah,
came
yeah.
to me. So Dane Cook made a joke about suicide, and it was hilarious. Even though I don't like the topic all that much, it was a funny joke. A lot of people hate Dane Cook for whatever reason, but he made me laugh, and I think he's hilarious. And so I guess one thing to wrap this up, though, I think a lot of people don't seem to grasp the concept that you can vote with your wallet, and you can just not watch these people or listen to their jokes, and they just don't grasp the concept that you can just leave.
Yeah,
Like
for
I don't
sure.
like Grace Big, for example. I can't stand Grace Helbig's videos, so I don't watch her, and it's that simple of a concept. I mean, a lot of people don't seem to understand that you can just not watch their stuff.
And that's what's hilarious about this whole UN panel against cyber violence right now, where it's like you do have a block button. In fact, you guys manufactured block lists of Gamergate people. You have a power button. You can walk away from your computer. What are you doing having this panel when there are people dying in other countries? There are people starving, and you're
I
talking about
I didn't even
you
take it
being made fun
seriously.
of.
Exactly, Lauren. I didn't even care. I just made fun of them and left. It is
It's
it's
like this
the
is
first world problem to end first world problems. I mean, I thought being fat was the first world. No, it's complaining about cyberbullying when you can just leave. That's a first world problem if there ever was one.
it's this is time and money that's supposed to be put into the United Nations, that is supposed to be peacekeeping, that is supposed to be helping people. Like, oh God, I was so mad. They put, what was it? Oh, I can't, Sudan or Syria or something. And I can't remember the exact country, but it was a Middle Eastern country that it does not have, that has kind of negative views towards women, that they put in charge of the women's rights panel. I'm going to try and find this right now, the exact country they put in charge, because I was just livid.
But yeah,
Oh,
I
they put the Saudis at the head of the human rights panel.
now that's interesting.
The UN is a joke. They are a joke. Rwandan
Yeah, I mean,
genocide, don't shoot unless fired at, even if people are being murdered in your presence. Like, oh, the UN makes me so mad.
yeah. There's that whole he for she campaign. One of the
Everything they
most.
do is a joke.
Yeah, actually, one last thing. The he for she, I think, is one interesting thing. I didn't think about until just now. And that I don't know. I think even one core part of feminism in general is they really struggle hard to keep men in their traditional gender role while they allow women to do whatever they want. Like, you ever notice that?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, they have, men need to stand up for women and protect women, but women, they can do whatever they want. They can, go dance.
of course.
God forbid.
They don't have to stand
It's
up for
kind of,
men, because that would be sexist. It would be sexist for it to be she or he.
oh yeah.
There's there's no equality in a campaign that says one gender should be for the other gender, but not the other way around as well. There's no, you're going into it with a preconceived notion of what equality should be that is unequal, quite frankly. You want more effort to be put in by one gender to help the other gender. How can... It's been debunked so many times. Everyone's gone through Emma Watson's speech. It wasn't a hard one for people to go through and debunk. Sargon Spice, crazy series he's done on all of it.
But I mean, yeah, it's amazing to me though, man. Again, the lack of awareness that some of these, unless they're doing it on purpose. Maybe I'm the one who's being duped, and this is all purposeful. And they're trying to keep men in their traditional gender role, and maybe it's a gigantic shit test, and we never knew. Maybe
4chan is in charge of it all. This has all been in 4chan the entire time.
We find out 10 years later, you know, after all of this fighting against feminism, we find out it was moot.
Yeah, good prank, Moot. Well done. Really got us with that one. You only imprisoned a few guys, but that's fine.
Oh,
all the guys are in internment camps, but it was worth it. April Fools.
It's June.
Yeah. Get wrecked. We'll prank him back and like put it the other way around or something. We'll start a new crazy motion. Everything is just a prank. Black Lives Matters, he for she, all of it.
And every prank is problematic. I mean,
every prank is problematic. The hashtag free bleed I just discovered was a 4chan prank. So now I'm just like suspicious. I'm going into the conspiracies.
4chan's been behind a lot of things.
Oh, they're great.
They're the real Illuminati. That's what it is.
I really enjoyed their Tumblr raids. Those were good times.
I almost can't believe they got the reaction they did. It's some. Oh.
I go back and I watch when I'm in a bad mood. I'll just watch AI's Tumblr raid videos. Or yeah, I wish 4chan would do it again. I can't have a decent conversation about feminism without seeing cats everywhere. Or gore.
Yeah, man, they did a great job. Those people are organized, though. I'll tell you that.
It's wonderful. It's glorious. We need to take everything a little less seriously.
I don't know. That when I first started making these videos, I was thinking the only way we can beat feminism is by taking the piss out of it. Everything's got to be a joke, which is why I make fun of them so much. I don't hate these people. Like at all. Maybe Lacy Green, but no, but I don't hate these people. It's just we just can't take them seriously. I think, you know, the moment we take "Have a Good Day, Beautiful" as a serious part of misogyny, I've lost. I've been defeated. We can't allow these people to take that seriously. So
yeah, we also need to be happy warriors. We need to have fun with it. We need to joke. We need to not be so like, I get depressed sometimes by the things they do, but ultimately I jump back and I'm like, all right, let's troll a little. Let's have fun with this. My pronoun, I identify as a gender neutral attack helicopter. Like, let's have fun with it.
Man, I know. I have to have fun with it too. A lot of people don't realize it. You know, a lot of the times, and I'll just be honest. Sometimes I'm really sad about some things when I see it, and I just gotta make it. I just gotta turn it into a joke. I just gotta laugh at it. And so that's one thing. That's one reason why I can't stand the censorship of jokes. You know, some people need it. You know, some
it's
people
all
need
we
to
have
be able to
left.
laugh. Yeah, it's the last thing they haven't taken over yet. And they're working on it too. Jerry Seinfeld doesn't even perform at college campuses anymore because of how PC it is. I mean, they're winning on that front too. We can't let them win.
Not for long. Not when the triggering gets here. March 9th, everyone. That's the triggering. You can go and look at my Twitter. It's the day between National Women's Day on March 8th and the day before Osama bin Laden's birthday on March 10th. So March 9th, everyone just posts extremely offensive content on their social media in support of free speech. So they can't ban us all. They can't kick us all off Facebook. They can't kick us all off Twitter.
That's a rather, start now. Start talking about the triggering now. That's some amazing planning you got. I can't wait for that day.
if we build it up, like people can say we're going to start the triggering now, but it won't be as organized, right? We'll just have a few people getting banned here and there. But if we all do it at the same time, they're not going to be able to kick us all out. And if they do, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious.
It is. Just make a new account.
It will be glorious. I hope to bring us back to the days of Tumblr raids, which was only like a year ago, but that's okay. And they still happen, but the triggering will be epic, and I will do a lot of promoting for it before it comes up. And hopefully others will help.
No, you should do that.
I wanted to choose a specific day. People are like, why didn't you do it a week from now? I wanted to choose a specific day so it had some significance and it could happen every year.
Yeah, I can imagine, 3 years later, we're still dealing with the gender wars, and
yeah,
everyone just waits in lieu of March 9th.
Yeah, March 9th, you'll be, especially right after International Women's Day, there's going to be so much fodder. It's going to be glorious.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how they even have a day like that. They don't even talk about men. Well, every day's a men's day, so.
It's like how they have women's studies but no men's studies. Why? Because history class is men's studies.
Exact history, his story. It's patriarchy all the way through. That's the answer on every history test.
Patriarchy.
Patriarchy. Why did they fight the Civil War? Patriarchy. Who freed the slaves? Patriarchy.
No, patriarchy can't do good things.
Patriarchy can't do good things?
No, sorry. Patriarchy didn't free the slaves.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's everything is problematic though. Remember, patriarchy can't do good things. Patriarchy is everywhere and everything, but patriarchy can't do good things, so it can't have freed the slaves. But also everything is problematic, so freeing the slaves is problematic, but patriarchy didn't do it. But we actually don't know how the slaves got freed. It's so
gonna have to write that
goddamn
one year. Everything. I mean, Google is sexist, man. Google doesn't have any pink colors in the name. That's the patriarchy.
Stop enforcing gendered colors on Google. Every color in the Google name is gendered. It's all female. Google itself is women. Female.
Google's a woman because it knows everything.
Google's
That's why.
Woman, yeah. Those memes make me so mad. I see them on my Facebook, like all of the I'm a woman, so I know everything. If you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Like, oh my god.
Oh man.
All the sassy
don't even get me started. And they believe it too,
I know
I
they
should cheat on
do.
you with your brother, take all your money, be all depressed and eat ice cream, and you can't say anything about that. No, you can get out of my house with that. Is what you can do.
Those e-cards, it's someone posted one where it's like two women sunbathing on the e-card, and it's like, let's kill our husbands and just take all their money and sunbathe all day, and everyone commenting, ha ha ha, yeah, let's do that. I'm like, what the hell? What?
Like, imagine if you said that about a woman, though, man.
Right? I don't understand. Going crazy here. I've kind of, all of those people, I no longer have fodder in that front because all those people kind of deleted me off Facebook after the slut walk, but.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, we just have different views. And they're like, no, you're evil.
No, you're problematic.
I am very problematic. I am
internalized misogyny was too much for him. That's an interesting concept, though. Internalized misogyny.
I'm a spy. I'm a double agent for the men's. They actually invite me to their secret patriarchy meetings, but I have to.
I haven't got my invitation yet. I need more subscribers, man. I haven't got my invitation to the patriarchy meeting. Maybe I'm black. Maybe that's my motive. I think that guy teased the token black guy.
I'm allowed to come to the patriarchy meetings, but I have to be a footstool. Like, all the guys will sit around and the feet, like, shoe on head, and we're just sitting on our hands and knees on footstools that we get to listen in. So it's kind of cool. And Feminism just got invited to the last one, too. So she's pretty
stoked.
Me? Sorry, man.
Huh. I'm not misogynistic.
Remember, the patriarchy, this is, what's it called? Intersectional feminism. The patriarchy isn't intersectional, so they're just racists, too.
Exactly. Man.
I'll see if I can get you in on the
All
next meeting, though. Like, I'll talk to them. I'll
right.
see if I can, even though they don't
Good.
listen
Send
to
me
me
an
because I'm a
invitation.
woman.
That's true. Yeah,
I'll do
everything
my
you say
best.
goes out the other ear. Yeah.
Footstool forever.
You bring them sandwiches, right? You know, they don't.
Of course,
They're not
that's
going hungry, right?
of course, of course. I've got this under
What kind of
control. Otherwise, they'll
what
kill
kind
me.
of sandwiches? I mean, is it ham? What are you
I've
working with?
already released too much information. Do you want me to die? Anyways, yes, I'll invite you to those next meetings if I can.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Is
All
that the
right.
last
So,
of your topics?
yeah, that was the last thing I had. You know, unless you've got anything else, I think this might be a good time to wrap it up.
Nailed it. No, only like 3 times I spaghettied. Nice.
All right. So, thank you for coming to chat with me. You know, very popular, very famous individual, talking this peon right here. You know.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate that.
All right. So, with that being said, man, you know, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon.
Bye.
Adios.